Hey guys, this is Tim Anderson from over at CompleteWritingSolutions.com, and today we're going to cover the articles that were written in episode 3. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the Roses of Georgia article, which is published here. Second article is How to Live in Your Place of Business, which is here. Third article is How to Avoid Rolling a Kayak, which is here. And the fourth article is one that we're going to talk about because I've chosen to decline the rewrite request on this, and the reason for this is simple. When you're writing for content mills, the whole key to the productivity and the profitability of this is to write as quickly and efficiently as possible while still maintaining the level of quality necessary for whatever content mill you happen to be working for. The level of quality varies per content mill, and you can obviously change your necessary steps and your actual writing style per content mill, just as you would per client. And as anyone who has been writing for content mills for a significant amount of time understands, if you come across an editor who writes you a novel-length reply as to why your article failed and why you need to change it, the chances of them actually accepting your rewrite are pretty slim, and most people out there agree that the easiest thing to do in this case is to simply ignore the rewrite request and move on to the next easy to write article so that you can maintain your profitability, because in the long run you're going to make up for this time with other easy to write articles. Now, this article in question, before I actually get into that, I would like to point out that in the course of this episode, or in the course of these total episodes, out of 16 articles, I had 3 sent back for rewrites. 2 of those I wrote, they were published. The third, which is this particular article, I'm choosing to decline. And the reason for that is simple. As you guys can see right here, the editor in question wrote me a novel-length reply, and at the end felt the need to state, I've received a BA in J, and I've worked as a reporter and editor for decades. I grew up in the country with beef, cattle, and horses. So I've driven hundreds of fence posts and edited thousands of articles. When an editor prefaces an article with this sort of a statement, they're setting you up for failure, because they're already telling you, no matter what you do, I have more experience than you, so I'm right and you're wrong. In this particular instance, as someone who grew up on a dairy farm and spent close to, I would hazard, 12 years building fences, hauling hay, and doing everything that relates to farming, and even over the years going up to the family ranch near Steamboat Springs. The last instance was in 2007 when I spent 3 months up in the summer before I moved to Bulgaria, helping build fence after the ranch got a government grant for organic hay. I've put in my time building fences, and I'm well aware of what needs to go into building a wooden fence without digging. This particular editor disagrees with my entire article and wants me to change it into his perspective. It's not worth my time at this point, because I've already put 15 minutes into this article. He's wanting me to put another 15 minutes into it, and considering how nitpicky he has been in his rewrite request, the chances of him accepting the actual rewrite are going to be pretty slim. So with something like this, if you get an editor who's asking you to go above and beyond and write a New York Times quality article for a content mill, skip it and move on about your day, because you're not writing New York Times quality content here. You're writing quick, easy content for Google. And another thing I'd like to point out here is the editor actually has a couple of things that he says which are kind of oxymoronic in a sense, because they counter each other. First, he says that you can't drive wooden posts that are strong enough to hold cross sections that can actually do anything. But you may be able to wreck a small decorative length of fence like this, but even then, I can't see how you could drive a wooden post of any size without it being significantly tapered without digging a hole. For someone who has supposedly driven so many fence posts, the editor in question should understand that this article is about wooden fence posts. It's about tapered wooden fence posts, and the way you drive these into the ground is either with a sledgehammer, as I mentioned in the article, or you actually have a fence pounding tool which you can add on to little bobcat loaders or your tractor, which can actually help drive these. Or you can actually use like the loading bucket of a tractor to actually pound them into the ground. So he even admits that you could build a fence. It just would be a small decorative fence, which isn't true. You could build an actual supported fence with this method. But since he's chosen to be so nitpicky about it, I'm not even going to waste my time. But I did want to let you guys know why I chose to decline to rewrite this particular article. Some of you are going to claim that this doesn't count towards my 4 articles in an hour claim, but I hope you'll be able to see that over the course of the entire episodes, episode 1 was 4 articles in 50 minutes, episode 2 was 4 articles in 56, this one is 4 articles in 58, and episode 4 is 4 articles in 52 minutes. So within the course of 4 hours, I've already gotten enough extra time to write another article to replace this one and still maintain my over $50 an hour average over the course of the 4-hour period. So the whole goal here is for you to be productive over a long period of time. You're going to come across editors, even in the private sector, you're going to come across editors who don't always agree with what you've written. They may end up paying you a kill fee for your time at the end of the day if they choose not to publish your work. So don't be discouraged by the fact that editors sometimes come back at you with an extremely novel length reply on why you need to change your article. These ones can generally be ignored because there's no point in arguing with someone who already has it in their mind that they're better than you. No matter what you do, they're going to be criticizing your article and looking for a reason to decline it. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bump right into the actual video footage here so that you guys can follow along and watch the actual writing as it happens. Hey guys, this is Tim Anderson from CompleteWritingSolutions.com, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 3 of the 5-part video series. One of the first things you'll notice is that tonight I'm going to actually leave the video on for the entire recording of this episode. What that means is that you're actually going to be able to see me going through and actually writing 4 articles from start to finish without any editing, and without me explaining things in the moment. The reason that I took the time to break things up in the first 2 videos is because I wanted to give you guys dialogue in the moment to explain each process as I went along. That's no longer necessary for this 3rd episode. Furthermore, I've had a couple of people criticize me for not including total video footage, claiming that, no joke, these are some of the things I've had people tell me that they think that I'm doing. One person told me that he thinks I'm pre-recording and pre-editing and pre-writing, pre-editing, and pre-culling my articles before I even show you guys anything on the screen. So this is going to show you that I'm not pre-writing anything. I'm actually writing things in the moment. Another individual actually claimed that I this one really got me. Another individual actually said that he thinks I'm somehow memorizing all of the content in advance so that when I'm recording it I can rattle it off the top of my head and somehow produce articles in the moment that have already been memorized in advance. People, come on. Okay, I can understand a little bit of doubt. After all, what I'm doing here is, it's new, it's different, it's something that most people think is impossible to do. But just like the very first person who said that the Earth was round, everyone knew that the Earth was flat years ago. It was fact. If you tried to tell people that the Earth was round, they excommunicated you from the church, for Pete's sake. It was known the Earth was flat. It wasn't until years later that it became the accepted norm that the earth was round. So I can understand some level of skepticism, but at the same point in time, I'm never going to be able to please every single person out there, but I am going to do the best I can to provide you full disclosure that everything I do is what I claim I can do. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pop open Write Advanced Studios writing desk, and I know you guys can't see this because it's redacted, but I am going to read off the 4 titles so that you can see what I'm writing about. Roses of Georgia, How to Avoid Rolling a Kayak, How to Live in Your Place of Business, How to Build a Fence Without Digging. These are, as promised, these are 3 articles that I'm going to have to pull resources for, so you can see how I'm still managing to pull this off even without being an expert in the material in question. With that being said, and keeping in mind that I'm going to be leaving the video on for the entire hour, I am going to pause here in a minute to set myself up for an hour so I don't have to worry about interruptions. I'm going to turn my cell phone into silent mode. I'm going to get comfortable here. I'm actually going to write in my bed today instead of at the desk because I'm kind of lazy this evening. But I'm going to get myself settled in so that I can sit here and write. And you're not going to hear a lot of audio from me this time. I took a lot of time in the first 2 videos to break things down into edited segments and include a lot of dialogue, showing you guys, explaining to you things that I'm doing in the moment, such as captioning the articles and writing about the tools you need and explaining my plagiarism checker and all these various other elements. I don't need to explain those anymore. So what you're going to see with the 3rd episode is basically me just sitting here writing 4 articles in the moment. You'll be able to track that, track my progress, and see how I am doing this in the moment. Other than that, what can you expect in the future? Well, episode 4, I'm actually going to focus on articles that I don't have any previous knowledge about or in my pool. Here's the reason for this is because another person has also claimed that one of the things I'm doing is supposedly, as I've explained to you guys in a past video, for example at Demand Studios, they have an article pool from which I pull assignments, and I've had someone claim that I mentioned this previously, I am somehow claiming topics in the past and memorizing that content or setting up the resources in advance or somehow manipulating things so that I'm not actually doing anything in the moment. And to show you guys for a fact that I'm not doing, episode 4 is actually going to be me. I'm going to pull 4 articles from the article queue, from the pool of articles. I'm going to pull 4 of those. I'm going to pull them and I'm going to write them in the moment so that you can clearly see that I'm not just randomly, I'm not pre-writing anything. I'm not manipulating data. I'm not manipulating your hearts and minds into subversively, purchasing my product. I'm just trying to attempt to give everyone full closure. And basically I continue to add new challenges to the video to try to attempt to please everyone, but at some point I'm not going to be able to do that. Video 5 is actually going to be a little different. Earlier I had told people it was going to show you me writing articles in the moment by hand. I'm still going to hold to that in episode 5, but it's not going to be for Demand Studios. This time I'm actually going to take a look at a private contract that I'm working for a client. Again, I'll be able to show you guys the live articles after they're published live. He's working on a website, and the articles in question are being pushed live to places like hubpages.com, squidoo.com, and others. He's working on a backlinking program right now, and backlinking a series of articles for his product. And while it's not content mill work per se, it is articles that are 400 words in length, so the same topic applies in terms of mass producing 400 to 500 word articles in the moment and doing 2,500 to 3,000 words per hour of content. So